What's up, Matt?
Daryl, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving. Good to see you, bud.
You too, man. Happy Thanksgiving for you. How's the West Coast?
West Coast is good. Things are
Yeah,
happening slowly. Yep.
good, good, good. Had a great Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful for my family, and I'm also grateful for you, brother.
Thank you, man.
You bring meaning to my life. I know don't take it the wrong way, but you bring a lot of meaning to my life.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, man. Uh, Last time we chatted, man, good talk. We talked about coaches that influenced us. They were role models for us as kids. And how they kind of affected us, what kind of characteristics they had that affected how we related to them, how we connected to them, and sort of how we went on to coach our own kids and other teams that we had. Today, I want to talk to you about coaches at the university and pro level, not that you played for, but impacted you. And to the point where if you could have played for them, you probably would. You said, man, I wish I could have played for that guy.
Right.
So I'm going to start first because I'm asking the question, but I've been thinking about this. When I was coaching kids, I didn't have a philosophy, and I was, and my big guy was Lou Holtz. I was a crazy football fanatic then, but I loved his style of coaching. And what I got from Lou Holtz was he was great at building relationships with his players. At least it appeared that way. He connected with his players. And then when I took a deeper dive back then because I wanted to sort of match his philosophy to the kind of coaching I did. The things that I loved that Lou did was he basically asked the players for their commitment. He asked them if they trusted him, and if they trusted each other. The other thing that I loved about Lou was he didn't care how much talent you had. He cared that you cared about the team and getting better. He took someone that cared about the team more so than a talented guy that just cared about himself, which came home to me. That's kind of stuff that I was like, man, I want my teams to care about each other. I want them to have fun. I want them kind of like we did when we played back at U of T. I wanted guys to hang out. I wanted guys to sort of, so he was huge for me in terms of how I sort of tried to coach my teams. The other person, this is going to come as a surprise to you, okay? Patt Summitt, all-time NCAA coach, female coach for the Tennessee University team. Unbelievable, great at feedback to her athletes. She had a little system. She would give feedback to her athletes, and if it was positive, they basically had to say 2 points. If it was negative, she had them respond, okay, I got it, rebound. I got it, rebound. So it was her way of basically making sure they heard the feedback and how it came across. She also, had this thing where I build up my players through trust. Okay, so one of the things was if she talked to all her players the same, she tried to at least, but she basically said, I was fair with all my players. And you can't talk to all of them the same way because they didn't develop the same way. And that's it's something I think coaches will understand, that not all your players you can talk to the same way, but you can be fair with all of them.
Yeah.
And she was honest with all of these guys. Everyone knew where they stood. So those were the two coaches for me, Patt Summitt, Lou Holtz. And I know there's many. There's the John Woodens of the world. There's the Belichicks. Those are the kind of guys that might resonate with you or other people out there. But those are two guys that did it for me, and I don't think they're bad people. What about yourself, Matt?
Yeah, well, I like the points that you made around firm but fair. And I mean, I think that's a really good coaching ethos, is to be firm but fair with your athletes. And you're right. You brought up a good point about not everybody developing equal. And that we always talk about leadership. And leadership is not walking towards a goal with your back towards your team saying, follow me. Leadership is actually walking backwards towards your goal and bringing people along at different levels based on where they are. We touched on that last time, and I think that's a really good mantra to play. And listen, in the coaching world, we're going to talk about different coaches. There's lots of great coaches that have done it. So we don't want to dismiss what they're doing by only pointing out the one or two men and women that
not at all
that we're doing. And I know that's not your point. So, there's lots of great stuff happening, but when you look at the coaches that were really successful, and it's not really, yeah, sure, it's wins, the Steve Kerrs, sure, it's wins, but it's their style. And we're seeing a new emerging style, but it wasn't always new. So when you look back and you talk about, the Woodens, I mean, he was a pioneer. He was before his time. It was like nobody cared about developing the relationships or connecting with the players on a deeper level and thinking about themselves first. It was wins. Like, come on, you're lucky to have this job. You're lucky to be here. And when you think about what we're trying to do, when we talk about a team, we talk about people playing their positions and roles and give and take and feedback. We talk the big talk, but we don't actually often see it happening on a transactional human level often. And, and Wooden was one of the first coaches to do that, which a lot of these coaches, the Summits, and a lot of these modern day coaches will say, we got that from studying, kind of the best principles that John Wooden was espousing. So, for me, Vince Lombardi, obviously, I like that style of like, listen, I'm going to challenge you and I pick him because I'm big on challenging people because, where there's no challenge, there's no change. And there is no challenge, there's no adversity. When there's no adversity, there's not a chance to have an authentic victory because you're not working through that adversity. And we talked about that, many podcasts ago about the whole challenge, adversity, victory pathway. So I liked his style, a little bit old school. Now you look at the Dabo Sweeney's Clemson coach, and he brings his faith into the equation, and he's introducing. It's about building the man, the young man, to be a better man. And our world needs better men and better people and better women. So I really like his style, which is not unlike some of the examples that you've given from Pat. She did a great job with her young women. I also like a guy who's doing a great job with young women, which is a UConn head coach in Geno. I think Auriemma, is that how you spell the last name? Sorry if I've butchered that. But Geno, if you listen to his speeches and the way he manages, it's very firm but fair. And people say, oh well, hey, listen, it's easy to win all the time when you get the top talent in girls basketball and NCAA. Well, it's actually not easy because it's not easy to manage, 5-star recruits all the time and make them come in and like you're talking about,
play for each other,
be a part of a team. And he's not afraid, just like Pat wasn't, just like Dabo's not, just like all these other coaches that you've mentioned. They're not afraid to develop the player and give the hard feedback to the player because, like you said, it's not just about talent. Talent without the ability with self-reflection is really difficult to manage. So you got to be able to be firm but fair, and you got to be able to meet people where they are. And those are some of the characteristics of the good coaches and great coaches that we're seeing. But all of them put a high emphasis on the human capital. So the human capital, that relationship development, and you
personal development too, personal development as well.
Totally. And when you look at where we don't do a great job, it's like it's a transaction. I'm a coach for a club team. I get my team roster on Tuesday. We got our first practice on Thursday. We're playing on Saturday. So let's go. It's chop. We're right into it without really investing the time like we talked about in that, connection, the social emotional connection, the mental character, and then the mental psychological resilience. We don't invest in those pieces of the puzzle, and then we always wonder why, oh, well, these kids are less resilient, they're less this, they're less that. Okay, well, we're not developing it. So we can play the blame game on who should be developing that, or we can understand that that's just part of the new coaching equation, which is what all of these great coaches that we watch do. They factor that in. And you could argue that they don't have to factor that in because they are at a university level. So, kids should be coming with these tools, but these great coaches recognize when it's not there. They recognize that this is a pathway. And just because these young men and women have arrived at the varsity and the university scene doesn't mean they're finished the journey and being a quality human, because sport has a ceiling. So you're not going to play sports your entire life. There's going to be an afterlife after sports. So I really like how these coaches are setting the majority, in fact, the majority of their athletes, 90% do not continue after college to play pro or semi-pro sports. They're setting them up for lifelong success on and off the court, off the field, off the pitch. So those are the two or three that ring out to me.
Well, almost like some of these coaches, they almost run it like a business, and the business or the team was first. So if you didn't fit in with the team, they dismissed you. Mm-hmm. And I know with Lou Holtz, his thing was improve every individual on the team. Every individual, if every individual improves on the team, we'll be successful. Now, we always talk about if you improve the weakest guys on your team, man, you're laughing. And I say that to some of the hockey coaches I deal with. It's like, man, you got to spend some time with these guys that are your third and fourth line guys, because if they come up, okay, then you're laughing. Then you got a team that's going to come out there and hammer people because there's no drop.
Yeah, I mean, and look at the St. Louis Blues. Didn't they prove that with a lot of quote unquote no names?
Team.
They had a team mentality, and you look at some of the teams that have been in past, the Pittsburgh Penguins dynasty, next man up, the Patriots next man up, some of the women's teams next woman up. And I think that's a really good point that you make, because often we see, especially at the development level, hey, let's just invest in these 5 kids. Well, what we're seeing now is 2, 3, and 4 years later, you no longer have that stable because you've lost the interest of those kids that sat on the bench for the entire year. Kids don't play sports to sit on the bench in high school. They don't, like, newsflash. And the stats during the year are meaningless. Almost every team gets into a playoffs. And I'll never forget this example of a coach who played all of his kids during the year equally. And then they had a conversation about how do we want to approach the playoffs. Everyone came to a consensus. It was the team consensus that said, let's let our best players play during the playoffs, but during the year, let everyone develop. And, you're fighting for your playoff spot. And I think that's good. It's again, a challenge. So what happened was the games were really close during the year, but then when he went to the playoffs with his team, they just crushed every other team because they had their starters playing. Yeah, when every other team had their starters playing the whole season only.
And they had the depth, man. And,
yeah.
It's huge for coaches to see that. But as you said, it becomes about winning too. So those early games in the season, it's not easy to lose a bunch of games and build everyone up. I think that's the challenge, is going through those growing pains with the guys and developing them and letting them make mistakes. So then come playoff time, everyone's there.
Yeah, you bet. Well, that's a communications issue. That's actually not tough at all. That's just a communications issue and a confident coach issue. And onboarding. And I'm not trying to suggest, as you're saying, that, when it happens, it's not an issue when it comes up. But if you're communicating that, hey, listen, this is what we're all about, giving the people the option to be a part of it or not be a part of it at the beginning. So, that's a communications issue that happens at the front end of the season. And, and now we're kind of moving from the varsity level where that's not going to happen that much there, but into the development level, that's exactly what should be happening, is that free flowing of switching positions, doing things. What does the day-to-day victory? It's a journey, and your season is a journey. And don't we like the teams that you didn't even hear? Who heard of the St. Louis Blues mid-season? And who would have guessed that they would have been Stanley Cup contenders? And never mind them, pick other sports, the women's and men's sports. Look at what happens and how that develops over the season. There's bumps and bruises, and then, at the right time, you're peaking. So peaking doesn't happen the first week. If you're winning the first 10 games, like, don't give yourself a pat on the back. This is a long season.
That's right. And it goes back to what we always talk about, leadership.
Right.
Guy at the top, the coaches. And that's why we're talking about these role models.
Absolutely.
So that's our talk today. Just go play, Matt.
Great. Thanks, Daryl.
Okay.